Welcome to the Accomplish More podcast, created specifically for the small business owner who doesn't think small. I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. This show is where you'll learn practical ideas, hints, tips, and tricks to help you grow your small business where you can leverage your time and to accomplish more. Hello and welcome to the Accomplish More podcast. I'm Gayla Scrivener and I thank you for joining me today. It's been a great kickoff to the new year for me and my team. I've implemented some changes of what my focus should be on, and this involves pretty much change on my part. And let's face it, change is never easy and never without its hiccups and frustrations. Being in our comfort zone, well, it's comfortable. It's natural for us to seek that level of comfort and routine to make us feel secure, and I'd have to say it makes us feel a little bit sane too. Too much chaos plays havoc on how we feel and function. Pulling yourself out of your comfort zone is important to achieve whatever goals you have set for yourself. As you hit some of those bumps along the way in your path of change, you'll soon find a new comfort level. You will soon find a new normal. When I first started Scrivener Solutions, I was freelancing and would do all the tasks myself in my business. With my background in operations and management, I've led many teams and know the importance of delegation. But working in structured organizations is where I got all my leadership experience. The thing about working with small business owners and me becoming a small business owner myself, structure isn't necessarily a reality. Even the most organized person who is pulled in so many different directions, it's hard to have structure and processes when you're a small business owner. Many of my fellow entrepreneurial friends struggle, me included, as to know what and when to delegate. So that's the topic of today's show. We know that we must delegate to bump up our productivity. We hear it all the time from coaches and books that you will earn more and you'll see the results in the growth of your business if you delegate. While delegating does take a big chunk of your operating budget, when you build a team strategically and systematically, you will far out-earn the cost of creating the team. The question comes up as to what to delegate and when. It's a good question, and you should be organized in knowing what you want and are able to communicate the results and expectations you desire. That's certainly easier said than done sometimes. I know there are many times that I picture how I'd like something to be, but I have a tough time breaking it down into manageable chunks. Delegating tasks is a process and is something that is perfect to start out small and build on. It's great for your sanity and your budget. What I mean about starting out small is good for your sanity is that when you get started getting help on something, it's a change. You are jumping out of your comfort zone. And in the short term, there will be challenges and frustrations. Others can't read your mind, so you'll have to learn to hone your communication skills. You'll be creating your new process. If you start by delegating one little thing, just dipping your toe in that water, so to speak, you are getting used to the newness of your updated way of working with a team. If you bring on someone to help you when you are so overwhelmed that you can't see straight, there's the tendency to just pile on so many tasks to the one person that you hire just to get some relief. What happens is that you'll quickly get frustrated. As my husband, Robert, would say, you'll just want to throw up your hands in haste and disgust. Why? Because you are throwing so many things, new things, to a new person that needs to learn your communication style, what your expectations are, and you're both out of your comfort zone. You are firing off so many tasks without order or prioritization and probably aren't making enough time to slow down and communicate effectively as to what you want the process to be and what you want your outcomes to be. Let's go back to the question of what to delegate. Because, after all, if you are struggling in getting everything done and you want to boost the growth of your business, your head may be spinning on where to even start when it comes to delegating. The very first thing you must do is to take an honest audit of how you spend your time. I'd venture to guess that most of you listening will skip this step, but I urge you not to. I'm as guilty as anyone that I think that I have a good idea of how long I'm spending on certain tasks. But the truth is, I have a skewed sense of reality, and I think we all do in that area. From time to time, when we want to see a significant change, I think it's important to do an audit of our time. I'm good at keeping track of billable hours because that is something that I need to do. But I am not so regimented in tracking the time I spend on my admin or miscellaneous tasks. However, when I'm feeling stressed and know it's time to delegate more, I'll become more regimented with my time tracking so that I will have a better picture of how I'm spending my time and where there needs to be change. I've talked in past podcast episodes about the importance of scheduling. Well, this is different. Planning ahead of what you want to do is scheduling. Time tracking is the reality of what you have actually done. Your time tracking exercise can be as easy as logging the time in a notebook. I would prefer using a web-based time clock to track my time. I like to be able to click a button to start and stop and tag and organize my activities. It makes it super easy for me to run some quick reports and put things into perspective. My tool of choice is Toggle. It's a free time tracking program. I use it on my desktop, tablet, or phone. No matter which device I'm using, it all syncs up. You can hop over to the show notes of this episode for the link. There are a ton of time tracking tools out there, but Toggle just happens to be the one that I like to use the most. So, the first step is to track your time. Now that you've tracked your time, what do? It's time to evaluate and be completely honest with yourself. Start off with identifying what your routine tasks are. Do you see a similarity in some of the things that you are doing? Can you see if some of those tasks can be grouped together because you're in the same systems or are focused on a particular thing? Your time audit will get you thinking. It will give you better insight and perspective. You will more clearly see why you aren't getting to the things that you need to do to boost your business. You need to develop a new product, but you never find the time to do so. You want to add on a new customer, but you already are stretched too thin. Ask yourself, what are the fundamental things that you must do to keep your business growing and prospering? Here are 7 kinds of tasks that you should evaluate and delegate. Let's start with number 1, delegate routine tasks. These are the tasks that should be done, let's say once a week, once a month, or maybe every time a project is completed. But before you delegate them, be sure to make sure they are necessary. One such task I delegated quite some time ago is sending out an email for meeting confirmations. I've been having Norma on my team do that for me. It doesn't take long, but it's well worth it for me to have her do it. At the end of the week, she looks at the next week. In our weekly calls to each other, she will ask me any questions about my schedule. We have a system to know if a meeting is a true meeting or block time for work, whether it's personal or professional, and I love that she asks me questions because sometimes I forget to put some stuff on my calendar and she fixes it for me. And since confirming meetings, I have a greatly reduced number of times that I'd show up for a meeting and the other person didn't. That is just one routine task, and it's just a little thing, but it helps me a great deal to stay on target. Another routine task may be thank you cards or special occasion cards. Many of our clients delegate sending out letters or cards. One of our clients goes to a trade show 4 or 5 times a year. After each show, he enters the contact information into his CRM and tags them a certain way. He simply gives me a heads up a week or so before the show so that I can make sure that we set aside the time for the project. Then, when he has the names entered into his CRM, he just texts me and we're ready for the letters. He tells me how they are tagged. We pull together the list. We have a letter template that just needs slight modification for each show. Then we mail merge, print the letters in envelopes, stuff the envelopes, and mail them. Not a huge project for us, because we are so used to mail merging and working up the letters like that more than he is. For us, it isn't a big deal, and we are super happy to be helping him. For him, he doesn't have to monkey around with his printer and even go get the stamps and supplies to do the job. He just knows the letters are in the mail, and he's concentrating on following up on the hottest leads from that trade show. That's time well delegated. Number 2, delegate tasks others can do better. As you develop your team, you will learn where their talents are. You may even train them to be better at a task than you are. If they can do it better and more efficiently, then it should be a no-brainer, and you should take your hands off of it. Sometimes our egos can get in the way here. Sometimes we get hung up that we are the only ones that can do a task because we are the only ones that can do it right. Letting go of our control tendencies can be hard to do. I know I have some trouble in this area. Number 3, delegate interesting tasks. Don't keep all the cool tasks to yourself. Of course, to one person, a task may be boring, and to another, it can be quite enjoyable. As a general rule, people want to feel like they are making a positive contribution. Having interesting tasks will boost their engagement and enthusiasm in working with your team. Number 4, delegate tasks for development. There are many tasks that you should take the time to train because your team member would benefit from the additional skill. If you are already good at completing the task, let someone else have a chance to learn it. For example, one of the services that I offered early on has been website and blog updating. I used my experience with WordPress to help our clients. I enjoy working on websites, and WordPress has so many plugins to work with, and it's a challenge. Now, even though I work on my own website, it has been more and more of a necessity for my team to take on some of those tasks. As I have delegated some of those tasks to them, I am learning more about their skills and their talents. When they learn something new on my website, then they are able to better use their new skills for our clients. Also, I make it easy for them to have their own websites for whatever they want to do. Anytime that they have a question about their own websites, I am more than happy to help them. They are excited to learn something new, and I am excited that with every new thing they learn, they are becoming better at using WordPress, even better than I am. I'm building the foundation for me to feel comfortable with delegating more to my team in the future. Number 5, delegate tasks that you might enjoy. You hear all the time to do what you do best and delegate the rest. Well, that can't always be the case. There are truly some tasks as a business owner that you may not necessarily like to do, but you need to. The tasks you may enjoy are those that you're probably good at, but are done repeatedly and can easily be delegated. Let's take, for example, my client Jen Villa. You met her in episode 16 when I interviewed her about her experiences in building a team. If you haven't listened to it yet, I do encourage you to. She has some great insight. Well, anyway, Jen loves doing things on her website and tinkering around in Constant Contact, making templates and beautiful designs for her brand. She will do editing for her podcasts and putting her videos together. She's quite good at all of those things, and she enjoys them. But she says that when she became serious about sales, that's when she became serious about delegating. She shifted her thinking. She realized that even though she may enjoy the task, someone else would as well. Her time would be better spent on other activities, allowing for someone on her team to enjoy the task and have fun with it. Number 6, delegate whole tasks. Sometimes it's worth delegating an entire task or a project instead of pieces and parts of it. In some cases, that just makes sense. In last week's episode, I discussed how Brandy on my team does all of our print orders for the company. For us, at first Brandy did the majority of the project, and I had kept doing just a few things. We worked out some of the kinks in our process, and now the entire project is hers. That leaves me to focus on other things. Number 7, delegate time-consuming tasks. If you need to be spending more time planning and strategizing, and there are some time-consuming tasks on your plate, then delegate them. We have a client that for months has been wanting to do some market research so that she can generate a list of prospects where she could do presentations. She has never gotten around to it. She came to us giving us parameters for the research and a spreadsheet development. She's not spending her time on researching now, which never did get done anyway. Now she's concentrating on her strategy of using the information gathered. That's time better spent. Let's recap. The 7 things that you should be delegating are 1, routine tasks, 2, tasks others can do better, 3, interesting tasks, 4, tasks that are good for skill development, 5, tasks you may enjoy, 6, whole tasks, and 7, time-consuming tasks. Remember, as a business owner, you should be focusing your time on activities that further the growth of your business. Things like strategy, planning, servicing, and marketing. Even though you may not be ready to delegate now, whether you aren't sure who to delegate to or all the details of how you'll delegate, start jotting down what you will delegate. To break things down even further, I've got a free checklist that you can download. It's called 50 Ideas of Tasks You Can Delegate to a Virtual Assistant. Not everything on the list may fit for your particular situation, and you may not want to delegate everything listed. But what this list will do for you is to get you thinking. Hop over to scrivenersolutions.com/50 ideas. That's SCRIVENER solutions.com/50 ideas to download your copy. Now there will be a link on the show notes if you need it. I do hope you enjoyed today's show and found it helpful. I'd be honored if you'd subscribe on iTunes and leave a comment. You can always send me questions or comments to podcast@scrivenersolutions.com. That's podcast@scrivener solutions.com. Now don't forget to hop over to scrivenersolutions.com/50 ideas for your free checklist. Until next time, have a fantastic week.